Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast daily. It is a Freaky Friday, and there's nothing freakier for Friday than talking some Ohio State special teams. And we've got a very special guest in for the first time. It's that's going to be weird to say, former Ohio State long snapper Bradley Robinson. I've been calling you Ohio State long snapper Bradley Robinson for like 7 years.
6.5 years. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not even used to like the former thing yet. It's weird. It's weird.
Okay. I mean, did somebody I think just got their ninth season of eligibility? I mean, how did we look
Yeah,
at
like
number eight?
the Oregon guy. It was joked about like applying for like a medical year. I think it was like a 50-50 shot based on like when I got hurt and like the certain amount of games and stuff. But it was one of those things like obviously having the injury sucked, but it's time for this chapter to come to a close. Like, I mean, obviously like I would love to do it forever, but I got other things I want to do and stuff. So it was one of those things like talked with my family, and it was a quick conversation about I'm just gonna kind of move on and see what's next.
Well, we could have pooled some NIL resources. You could have had the special teams podcast next year, and to entice you to stay. Maybe that would have balanced the scales. But
Speaking of that,
like,
I saw a tweet yesterday. I think my dad sent it to me, and it was like some random like Ohio State fan talking about like NIL deals and stuff, and like why guys leave and come. And then someone responded with my name, like the long snapper Bradley Robinson has a 6-figure NIL deal, and I'm like, okay, that's new. That's news to me. Like I've had some solid deals and stuff, but nothing 6 figures. And I go maybe approaching 5 figures, but hey, I mean, unless somebody was hiding something from me that I didn't know about.
it's the other Bradley Robinson.
Yeah,
He got the 6-figure deal. The checks just went the wrong way.
it's got a wrong address or something.
Well, I mean, I think you deserved more, and we barely got to talk to you much publicly in press conferences, which I think is a shame because I've always appreciated your insight. I not just what you do specifically and the way that you play the game and your focus, which I think is great. And I want to take your mindset out to improve my golf game. But I think that specialists in general, they watch so much more football than anybody else
Mm-hmm.
and have an appreciation for the game. So I do think that guys in your spot probably deserved more NIL money and not just one, cool commercial
Mm-hmm.
like you had in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, what was good NIL stuff is like I got that commercial, which like they approached me, and it all started based on like my tweet with like the Tommy Boy reference about coming back for the seventh year. Which for me, it's like I've always been like a movie guy. Like all those like I don't even know if they're pop culture references anymore because like feel like I'm way older than all like the current stuff. Like that's old stuff. Like no one's seen those movies. Like nobody in the locker room has seen Tommy Boy except for a couple guys. But that's like they reached out to me. And it's like I enjoyed NIL a lot. Like most of it was like you just reach out to companies on Instagram and like you get a little discount here and there, like some free stuff here and then. Like that was like the little things here and there that just like kind of build up. Like and that was like just great to experience. Like for me, like the way I look at NIL is goes like it was never supposed to be this way, or like it wasn't supposed to be. So like everything was cherry on top. Like it was all extra. Like it's all like benefits. So I was like I loved every little bit, whether it was $10, $100, or $1,000. I was like, this was awesome.
Maybe they thought that you were just going to take it now that sports betting is legal in Ohio and you were just going to double it up. And then it got to be 6 figures. Maybe that's what they were thinking.
That's a whole nother thing too with the sports betting. So like the past couple weekends, like I don't bet. Like I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to as like
Yeah.
go for the NFL draft and stuff. But like I have no intentions of doing anyways. Like multiple nights in a row, like with my guy friends at dinner or at like people's apartments, they're all sitting there like putting parlays together, talking. I'm sitting there on my phone like I have nothing to do to this. I have nothing to go with this conversation. Like they're like locked in. Like they did this parlay, that parlay, like the free $200 from this app. Like, oh, let me send you a code. And I'm just like, it's all over my head. And I was like so out of the conversation for like 45 minutes, just waiting for them to get like done with that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that you're allowed to. I believe somebody in the NFL, maybe Calvin Ridley, found out the hard way last year that the NFL doesn't want you wagering on anything at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and you are working hard to get there.
Yeah.
And obviously, you couldn't do that while you're with Ohio State. But you explain to everybody else what the rehab process has been like and what you're trying to get through right now, so that maybe you can find a way, if not into draft boards, but onto a roster by the summer.
Yeah, so first I tore like I didn't even know how like public it was. Like they just said knee injury and stuff, but it was my ACL and meniscus, which it's one of those. It's usually like a lot of times it's a non-contact injury. For this it happened. I was engaged with Iowa's middle linebacker, who won the linebacker of the year award. Tommy Eichenberg was snubbed in my opinion, but at least like I joked with some of my teammates when we were watching film and we saw a long snapper get juked out downfield, and I go, thank God I didn't get hurt getting embarrassed by an athletic kid on the field. Like I was engaged in a block with a guy. It was equal force, and like that's what led to it. Like I didn't get juke and like actually like break my ankles or something, get my ankles broken by someone more athletic than me, like all the returners usually are. But it was so it was that, and I had surgery November 9th. There was discussions about me coming back to play, but like play on an ACL, brace it up. But it was one of those things, like the entire medical staff was awesome between the trainers and the surgeon. It was like, hey, for your best interest, like not even just to continue football, but for like later down the line in life, like if you want a knee that's just not going to be in chronic pain, we should probably do surgery now, especially with like the meniscus. And like what I was told is on the MRI, they could tell there's something wrong with the meniscus, but they can't tell like how crazy it is. Like you could be on crutches for like 6 weeks. You can be on crutches for 3 months. Like it's this whole range. And like, thankfully they fully repaired my meniscus, and where the tears were is I was able to be off crutches in 2 weeks, just like most people on ACL rehab. So as of Monday, this past Monday, I'm just over 2 months post-op. And I would say like I'm past all the like little rehab exercise. Like I've been doing rehab 5 days a week since the day after surgery. And now I'm like full on like it's not rehab, like it's just a lower body lift in my mind. Like you're just going in, you're working out legs more than anybody ever works out before. But it's been great. Like the staff I'm working with is like the training staff has been so good. Like it's just been like I've always gotten along with them, so it's like I try to bring energy every day in there. But so it's been a long, like it's one of those, like some days you wake up and you're like, dang, I gotta go to rehab again today. But then that I try to be positive. And since it happened, like I took 2 days, like the first 2 days after I got hurt, after I got like the talk with the surgeon and the docs and stuff, it was like I took like basically 2 days with my mom and dad here. And it was like I mourned it. Like I mourned my career, my season, and all of that. And then from there, like I woke up Tuesday morning to start, like you do a bunch of prehab before surgery. And I was like, okay, being negative and being sad is not going to get me anywhere. I'm just going to like, and looking ahead is not going to get me anywhere either. I'm just going to focus on the very day I'm in right now and being as positive as possible. So that's been like how I've attacked rehab. And like it's crazy that I'm over 2 months through rehab, because it's gone like that. And it's one of those things, like I just try to wake up and focus on that day. Whatever, like if I wake up like, dang, I got to go to rehab, I try to get that thought out as fast as possible and just work back. And it's like I was doing box step ups with like dumbbells where in each hand, where you're just stepping up on a box with that leg. And I was doing more weight 2 days ago than I did on that exercise pre-surgery. So It's like I'm kind of viewing it as I basically get to like rework my entire lower body, like muscle wise and mobility wise. I'm like, at the end of the day, like I should be able to come out of this stronger than I was going into it, because you're spending all those days a week just focused on different things that you might not focus on as much, because there is that imbalance there of surgery and having to repair it. So I'm trying to always just be positive and look at the positives, because being negative and dwelling on like what could have been, what happened and everything, there's no point in that. And that's the thing I try to take on in everything in life. It's like, I view this was a challenge put in front of me by God and stuff. And like, I'm only like, I can only get better because of this experience in my mind.
Yeah. I remember shooting you a message. I don't know, it was a couple of days after the injury, and I expected, when I saw you go down, as well, that looks like a season-ending injury, and then somebody told me that it probably was, and I remember your response. You're just like, well, thanks for worrying about me, man, but I'm good. Like, I'm like, really? Like, you're not playing again the rest of this year? You're not going to get to have one more chance to win some gold pants or contribute in a playoff? And I knew that later on there'd be more conversations like that, but I was kind of amazed how well you took it, and that you don't have to explain all that again, but I did think that was remarkable, the way that you attacked that, and significant. And it's probably a lesson that a lot of other people can learn from. So now that you get to that point and you are feeling stronger, like, what do you do from here? You're training in Columbus. You're doing the lifts that you're talking about. What does a long snapper need to do what's your understanding of the plan ahead to get to the next level?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is I've just been talking with my agents and stuff and getting them. And basically what they told me is you just got to attack rehab positively. And one, you can't rush rehab either. And that's kind of the talks we've had there. But basically, pro day is circled on my calendar. I don't have an exact date. You just know it's mid to end March,
It's
and
March circle.
yeah, just basically there. And ideally, like what I've talked with the medical team is, number one thing is I'll be able to bench no matter what. So the goal is to throw some good reps up for 225. My goal is above 20. I'd be extremely happy with 23. That's like kind of the number
Okay.
I've set, but my goal is above 20. I've done 20 before. So hopefully that's something I can do. And then in terms of, at first, like some people are like, oh, you probably won't be able to snap based on this, based on like the meniscus and all the progress where I'm at now is like, I think like I even joked like, had we had to play this past Monday night, like I would have talked to the training staff, like, hey, can I do field goal? Like we put a brace on it. It's 2 months post surgery. The range of motion is there at like 95%. Like I snapped field goals the week, like just on the side to Jesse. When we were down in Atlanta, I was like doing some bike exercise and like I was all warmed up. I go, Jesse, just go back. Let me see. And he was like, and he loved it because I was just like firing back off. And he goes, dang, like, so it's like we joked. It's like I probably could have done field goals, but then there's just so much like, what if this happens? What if that? So it's like probably wouldn't have happened, but it's like I feel like I at least felt like I could do that. And so the goal for pro day is to snap and bench. Obviously, won't be running because I'll be like 4.5, close to 5 months post op then. And the goal is to snap. And the biggest transition from college to the NFL in most cases, you got to be able to block in the NFL. You got to snap and block. So my hope and my goal is that I can snap and protect on air. My original plan for pro day was I was going to snap and have a live rusher. My brother did that at his pro day. And it's not like sometimes we'll have guys with like a pad and they kind of rush you, but I wanted to basically showcase like a full rusher. Originally my plan was I was good friends with Master Teague, and if I didn't come back for this season, he was going to rush me at pro day last year. And I was like, that should show something good. So the goal is to be able to at least snap and block on air and not have to block an actual person. Probably wouldn't be healthy enough to block an actual person, but I'm optimistic that I'll be able to snap and block on air and at least like basically just the goal is to show that I'm progressing how I'm supposed to be. They give you a 9-month timeline, which brings me to basically July, which is before NFL camps start. But like, it's one of those, like, it could take longer than that. It could take shorter than that. Like it's anything. It's just, they don't want to tell you any more than that either. And like, when you go meet with the surgeons and the docs, like they do a really good job of like telling you where you're at, but also like, they don't want you to get ahead of yourself. And I don't want to get ahead of myself either. And because that's when you can run into trouble with like, if you're just pushing it too far and then you don't want, last thing I want is a setback. So that's my goal for pro day. And like, that's kind of where my sights are focused, is just pro day. And then not trying to think about anything past that right now.
So I'm not saying that you are not going to be drafted, but you play a position that is not high on draft boards. So normally, like, I've been having these conversations for years, the guys that want to talk about their process and, you know, how high you're going to go, like what team do you want to play for? And like, they get faced with all of that at the combine. Again, I'm not ruling out that possibility for you, but I assume that your mentality is a little bit different with that process, that's not necessarily what the end goal is to hear your name called.
So I've ruled out being drafted. Not gonna say that could still happen, but it's one of the things like last year, nobody got drafted. The year before that, 2 guys got drafted. The year before that, 1 guy. Before that, no guy. So it's like there's 1 year where it was 2, and that was like recently. And one of those guys has made a team and played since then, and the other guy's been bouncing around like on practice squads and stuff. So it's one thing. It's like, and also like everybody that's been drafted, like I think out of like the last 10 guys to be drafted, I think 4 or 5 are actually still playing. And it's like one of those things like, and that's specialists in general too, I think, but definitely for the long snap, it's like just because you got drafted doesn't guarantee anything. And like one of the things like the nice part about a free agent deal as a specialist is like that's the norm usually. Unless you are top tier or like have all the stats and stuff, like it is the norm is hopefully ideally like after the draft ends, boom, whatever it's Saturday or Sunday, 7th round ends, you're on the phone with your agent and you hopefully have like anywhere from 2 to 4 teams like, hey, like we're interested in signing you a free agent deal. And that's kind of like where my mind's focus is. I know like going into the season and throughout the season, basically feedback I got is that I was top 3, like round 1 or 2 in terms of like for the draft. And then now obviously like I'm a realist. I know like the injury like is going to affect that status and that view is, and hopefully like feedback from Coach Day and stuff is I have enough film and like he's been awesome. He's got like he's there to help me and stuff. He's been great. But the feedback is I got enough film, but teams, there's still the question mark of like, where's his knee at? What's this? So that's where like pro day, it's like, I'm not trying to show that I'm 100% healthy on pro day. I'm just trying to show that I'm progressing. I've been working my ass off. And that's kind of like where my mindset's at. But yeah, the draft for snappers is a completely different approach than most people.
So I know that everyone who listens to this podcast will have picked up on you saying that you fired off some field goal snaps before the Peach Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I know how close the specialists are. I know how much you hurt for your brothers that they weren't, that didn't execute the way that they wanted in the Peach Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I'm also not suggesting that you could have made it any different. Jesse and Noah were upset in the locker room. I'm steering clear of that. I don't want any part of that conversation. I know how painful it was to watch it then for you. Again, not knowing if you could have made the difference or not on that. I don't know what you saw or what they did. I leave that up to the specialist to evaluate that part. But how much I know you hurt for them. What was it like to watch it and not be able to be part of it?
It really sucked. Especially because like if you look at how last year ended, like last season, you couldn't have picked a better end for 3 specialists than a game-winning kick at the Rose Bowl, especially as a kid who grew up in Big Ten country, idolizing what the Rose Bowl is, having been there before, having gotten to play in it, and then you win the Rose Bowl with something you do. And like I have a picture hanging up outside my room here, and it's a picture of a picture of me taking a picture of the 3 of us in the locker room after the game, and it's one of my favorite pictures ever, just because the amount of excitement we had, like, for what we did, like people are like, oh, like, it was this kind of kick, that kind of kick, but it was like, you just kicked a field goal and you were part of that operation to win the Rose Bowl, and that's for the 3 of us and everybody that was out there blocking. Like, it's different, and just not like, I don't think I would have made any difference at all. Like, the snap was fine, hold was fine, and it happens with kickers. Like, I have nothing but love for Noah, and that was one of the first things Coach Day said to the entire team was just, hey, like, lift up our brother Noah, like, it's not on him. And that's it just sucked that I wasn't able to be there, like, because you want to experience the ups with your guys, and you also want to experience the downs. And I've been a part of some really great, like, specialist trios here, between Drew and Blake and Hoover, and even when Jake was our kicker, with like all the different combinations we had during the COVID year and stuff. Yeah. And it's just like, not only, like, I want to experience all the good times, but you battle every day, work at workouts, every day at practice with those guys. Like, you want to go through those bad times with them too, just because you're used to going through them. So that's where it hurt me, is just that, like, I couldn't be there and have the same feelings that they had because I wasn't out there. Like, it still was painful for me, but it's just, I couldn't find the same level that they had because I wasn't out there. And it's good. It's crazy. Obviously, we live in a crazy world with the things that people have said to Noah on social media. But what is good is it's actually been probably 50-50 with a lot of people with more positive stuff to him. Like, hey, like, look out for Noah Ruggs. Like the dude had a great career. Like, I think he's the most accurate kicker in Ohio State history. I don't quote me on that, but he's up there. And it sucks that this is what's gonna be in people's mind, because it just doesn't reflect who he is as a kicker and what he's done for Ohio State.
Yeah. No, that's well said. Is it weird to you as well that, like, Ohio State went out in the portal? They felt like they had to go offer a scholarship long snapper to replace you, right? How does anybody know, like, that this guy is going to be good enough to fill those shoes? Like, how do you evaluate a long snapper to bring somebody in?
Yeah, so I mean, it's different. Like, I can go watch a film and between 2 snappers and immediately notice different differences here and there. Like, little things, not even anything has to do with the snap and stuff. And like, the normal college football fans can be like, those look like the exact same things to me and stuff. And the thing is here, and it's like, I love Mason. Mason's a good dude. And I wish him best of luck wherever his next journey is. I'm sad to see him go. I really am. It's just because, like, as of right now, he's the starter, and it's just, there's an opportunity, but I think he's going to be fine no matter where he ends up. But it's one of those things is, I learned early on, and it's still in place. But like, when I got here behind Liam, it was like, there's a standard here, and you have to meet that standard or surpass it. And if you do not, someone will be brought in. Even if you're at that standard, they're always bringing somebody in. Right. Like, I was told when I was recruited by Urban Meyer and Coach Combs, like, hey, Liam's a really good long snapper, but we want someone to come in and push him. Like there was never like, yeah, you're gonna be Liam's backup. Like, no, we want you to come in and push him. And if you're truly better, you'll pass him up and stuff. And like I didn't come in with that mindset I was gonna beat Liam out or anything. I just like I wanted to come in and just show that I belonged at Ohio State. And that's kind of what happened. And Liam had a great career. And now he's killing it with the Falcons. I was happy I got dinner with him when we were down in Atlanta. It was great catching up with him. And,
well,
and like
he's too famous. Like you gotta get
yeah, I mean, he's loving life and like he's doing good. Like he had a really great season. It makes me happy because it's just like I think we're up to 4 specialists in the league from Ohio State now, 2 snappers, hopefully a third one, and then 2 punters and stuff. So it's like special teams, hopefully trying to get that going. But it's one of those things like I was taught from early, like from right when I walked in the door. It's like, hey, there's a standard here, and even if you're meeting that standard, we're bringing people in constantly. And I personally love competition, because I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have competition in the special teams room. I wouldn't be the level player I am. And it's either you have to get better or someone's going to pass you up. And that especially at a school like Ohio State, we should be able to get anybody that's going to come in and compete for any starting job, whether it's the specialist, whether it's offense, defense. Like it's Ohio State. There should be someone competing for your job every single day at practice. And that's kind of how I looked at it. And that's how when the coaches like we're looking at snappers and stuff, they're like, hey, like we need to elevate the standard. So like let's try to bring in and spark some competition and stuff. And that was kind of the way they went with bringing in John. And he played last year at Arizona State. And I've talked with him a bunch this past week. And actually I watched him snap and stuff. And he's texting me and like I'm trying to help him out and stuff. And it's like it's one of those things. He was at Arizona State, nothing against Arizona State, but I told him when he was on his visit in December, I go, this is a different beast. This building is different. You have to operate differently. And he goes, yeah, I know. I go, you like, no offense, but you don't. Like nothing, like literally nothing against Arizona State. Like it is a completely different beast here. I have friends all around the country at different schools. Like to make it here, like it's like the cliche thing. Like if you make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I think that's the truest thing ever, just because this is a high intensity building. And you have to just be able to keep up with it or else you'll just get spit out. And I think he'll do great. I think he'll do fine. It's just like he was excited for it too, excited for the challenge. It was one of the things like I told him early on, like when I first met him at dinner on his visit, I was like, hey, like you have to have your mind like ready to go. Like if this place is going to challenge you. And he's already got like questions about different things and stuff like this. He goes, help me with this. Like, and I'm more than happy to help. Like I want to see him succeed. So it's crazy. Just like, but for me, it's like, it sucks to see like Mason go, but at the end of the day, like as an Ohio State alumni now and former player, like you just want to see competition to have the best guy play. And that's every position.
I mean, you've been an alum for years. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like Drew, go back to my days with Drew. Like I spent a year at Michigan State. He used to call me, like when we get ready to play Michigan State, he goes, oh, we got to watch out for the alumnus over there. Like, so it's like, yeah. So I have 2 degrees for 2 years now, I guess. And now I'm about to get a third one after this one class this semester. But it's like, I still want to be able to be around the program and help when needed. Obviously I have a bunch of goals that go ahead of that now. But it's one of those things, like I'm in the building, like Jesse lives in the same apartment with me. Like we're really close and stuff. So it's like, I want to be there for him. Like that's his unit now too. Like I'm excited to see like what he can do with that unit and stuff is being the leader and stuff. My time's up finally. But I'm excited to see like what he can do. And it's like, I want to be like I don't have to stress out as much about stuff going on, but I want to be like someone that the guys can turn to, like no matter what, whether I'm with a team or not. Like I want them to know that they can text or call me and I'll be there to help them and provide advice. Like I want them to know that.
Well, I'm the one that's going to need you in the media. Once upon a time when Liam left, so I don't know, Bradley, if you watched a lot of Buckeye Qs, we've never done one about long snappers, but guess what? I wanted to do one on you and Liam, because he is also a pretty good-natured person, as everyone who has ever followed him on social media or seen his T-shirts or whatever else knows. I said, well, this would be kind of fun, right? Let's just try it. You can break down, Bradley Robinson in the spring game. And but he became so famous that it never happened. Yeah. And he didn't follow through on his Buckeye Q. So now that's up to you. You're going to have to.
I look at it like I would love to break down like specialists in general, not even just long snapper. Like Pat McAfee, I got his banner up here, like, he got his like start when he first retired. He was at Barcelona. He was just literally breaking down special teams plays, like punts and stuff. He still does it sometimes, but he used to break down like all of them. And now he's like, the dude's doing so much and everything. But like, And it was just cool to see because now there's the For the Brand, and it's literally a hashtag that like all these top NFL, like all these big time reporters for NFL college stuff, they're always like, it's a known thing. And it's because like he publicized that. And it's one of those things like it brings more attention to specialists. Like you're going to, just when you get positive attention, you're also got to be ready for that negative attention. But it just kind of shed more light on like, we're not just out there like to, everyone's like, oh, you have one job. You have, this is all you do the entire time. Like there's so much more that goes into it and stuff. And there's so many different little things. So it's like, I'd be all for it. So.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that afterwards. I don't know if it'll be a 6-figure deal. We'll leave that to the social media speculation. But the last thing, if you have a major knee injury, how long do you have to be out before you can swing a golf club?
So I've Googled it. I haven't asked the doctors, but I've Googled it. And there's like, it's the bad part is any information you Google on like any health related thing, you don't like, you get like, oh, you could be back 1 month or 2 years. So it's like, it's one of those things. I went to Top Golf with Jesse and his parents before they went back to Australia like last week. And I was just sitting there like on one leg just chipping and stuff. Like so I could do a backswing. I can't push off the right leg to get the hips through and stuff. So I could probably get a good arm swing going. Like I'm going to Arizona in 3 weeks and it's like I go out to Arizona like twice a year and it's gonna break my heart being out there and not being able to golf. It's one of those things like I could probably come back. Like I talked to Cade Kachersky, who also had his ACL. I go like, when did you get back golf? And he goes, I was on the simulator in like 2 months, but he goes, that's when I was done with football. And I was rehabbing to golf, not rehabbing to go to the NFL. So it's like, it's sadly low on the list of my priorities, but it is in the back of my mind. I have my brother gets married in September and I'm working on planning his bachelor party right now. And we're going to do, I think, a golf trip. Okay. And it's like, I got to find the date, one that doesn't impact my hopefully football schedule. But then also hopefully I can golf at that point. That's
right.
So I'm trying to figure it out. I haven't yet asked the doctors and the medical staff yet because I don't want them to be like, oh, he just wants to golf. But it's deep in the back of my mind. It's there.
Is it supposed to be a secret, or what courses are in consideration for the summer bachelor party?
So I've heard a lot of Sweetens Cove in Tennessee. I've had like some buddies go there. That's like you buy a day pass. It's like 9 holes, but each green has 2 things. And now the one I think I just found, because he lives in Durham right now, he's finishing up PT school at Duke. It's I'm drawing a complete blank on the name, but it's like a bunch of courses like south where like it's like down the road from Pinehurst, and there's like a package deal with
Talamore Resort.
Yeah, Talamore Golf Resort. And it's like they have an Arnold Palmer cottage that's like 4 bedrooms, sleeps 8 people, which is what our group would be. And I was looking at the different packages there, and like it looks like in terms of like the price seems high originally, but it covers like 3 rounds of golf at really nice courses, covers where you're staying and stuff. And the travel wouldn't be too hard there.
Buddy, let me get you Kristen at Talamore some contact information.
Yeah.
I will be back there again next month. You won't regret it. I can promise you. That's exactly what you need. Yeah, it's well worth it. And if you want to swing by Pinehurst and play number 2 or go to their, This'll Do, the massive putting green where there's some beverages that you can take out there. I mean, you're 5 minutes away. So
one guy in the group was like, he goes, if we're there, we got to go to the Cradle at least. We got to go play the Cradle and stuff. And I go, I mean, if it's there, hey, might as well.
So yeah, I will go ahead and pass along my recommendation that you can walk down that road. It's well worth it. I'll be back again next month. But this show's not about me. It was about you, and I'm glad that we were able to make this work. And I will certainly effort on my end to have Bradley Robinson back on the podcast at some time soon. And I sincerely wish him the best of luck in this journey as he gets ready to go, whether it's the NFL draft or undrafted free agent, doesn't matter. I'm hoping for the best for you, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. For Brad, I am Austin. This has been a Freaky Friday episode of the Podcast Daily. I will talk to you later.